What is going on, y'all? It is Real to Dev, and welcome back to the channel. It has been a while, so yeah, forgive the hiatus. So what I wanted to talk about today was the WWDC event that Apple just held last week, and there's been a lot of talk and a lot of thoughts, and I just want to share my perspective on, I guess, a number of the different updates, and I'll probably be rolling out some different breakdowns. But the bread and butter that everyone's been talking about lately is absolutely that Apple Vision Pro headset. Everyone's got thoughts, everyone's minds racing, and there's just a lot of speculation and things to look forward to seeing with this new product category that Apple announced. So, really, there's a lot of different things that I have from a developer perspective that I have been honestly have been looking forward to seeing this because I always paying attention to a lot of the rumors. Like we've all been listening, a lot of us have been listening to the rumors, and they've been teasing things, and things have been coming out, but nothing has been concrete. Besides like patents and stuff. But everything has been decidedly shown and showed and told at the developer conference. So I think that Apple is definitely embarking in a very brave new territory, and I'm very excited, honestly, just from a technological perspective to see how everything pans out. I myself clearly have been a fan and an adopter of VR products and technology, working and using the Meta Quest, and Oculus headsets and all of that sort of thing. You see a bunch of those videos I have on the channel and talking about how to use all of those things and take advantage of the capabilities. So clearly, I'm somebody who sees value into looking into the future of these products and seeing what they can do and seeing how they can be used in daily life and figuring out different applications for them and such. So now that a big player Apple is in the game, I think that is definitely gonna really cause some attention to really come into the space on VR as a whole, because there's a lot of people who clearly gotten into it. Meta has sold millions and millions. I don't know if billions, but yeah, millions and millions of headsets. But now with Apple releasing their Apple brand product, an Apple headset that honestly from the demo looks very incredible, amazing, and well put together. The question is for the price tag, that 3,500 price tag, how many people are going to get it this first time around? In all honesty, I don't see a lot of mass adoption picking up on this first thing, but I don't think that's what this first launch is really about. On a tech and developer perspective, I think, and even from a marketing perspective, I think that this was really made to show off that they had the headset in mind and clearly have it developed. And the plan is to roll out developments over time and start off with this starter pro model headset and then see where things go after things get developed. People make apps, people make all types of experience that people might want to look into. At the demo, they showed off stuff like being able to sit down, watch movies, having stuff like the FaceTime and FaceTiming in there with the almost realistic, photorealistic kind of avatar. And I think there's room for that to grow. Some people think it looks pretty good, honestly. I think it looks good, but especially there's two different like art styles when it comes to doing something like that. You see Meta was went down like more of a cartoon route, typically, but I really do like this realistic look, but I haven't got to see it myself, and I'm biased. No, I'm not sure if bias is the right word, but I've been spoiled, or I've gotten privy to seeing what other people think, or people have enlightened and share their perspective on what they think about this uncanny valley type of avatar when chatting with people in a FaceTime, and seeing them as regular people, video quality, and then seeing a weird FaceTime avatar itself. There's definitely going to be an adjustment for people to actually get even comfortable with thinking about. Definitely very different, very new. Um, so I guess we'll have to see when things are actually out there in the markets for people to pick up and actually play with. But a lot of the other high level and high tier experiences that included, being able to watch movies in a very fully immersed space, which is already possible with the current VR headsets that are out there. Typically, there's like an app, like there's a very nice Netflix app that exists within a number of the headsets. I've only used the Meta Quest, but I'm sure that it's a multi-platform thing. But having that be more of a native viewing experience within your Apple headset, I think is a pretty awesome way to be able to just take in and immerse within the headset. Another thing about what they really were showing off is just how much of a mixed reality product it really is. It's honestly very much mixed reality, um, front and center. Like that definitely seems to be very much a focal point and selling point or main point of this product. That it very much has you looking through very high quality 8K cameras in each eye. So these are insane high resolution. I think they said something about 2,000 pixels per inch within your eyes. So it's a very high quality camera that you'll be able to see the real world through the headset, which is absolutely the best on any headset there is right now. Not that it's out, but I don't think anyone's going to be coming out anytime soon with these kind of specs on the product, even by the time they actually release it. So I'm very much looking to see what that's like. I've heard a lot of good things already of people's viewing experiences, saying everything is very nice looking through the lenses. But as far as some of the other features that I think really help make that experience feel whole, like watching and being immersed in a movie and having the spatial audio. I think people who already have the AirPod Maxes have already kind of gotten experience with what that spatial audio sounds like. I actually am not an owner of AirPod Maxes, but I do have the PlayStation 5. Anyone who owns a PlayStation 5, they probably also know that there's a 3D audio feature that's very, very similar to that kind of concept. So being able to have that immersive 3D feeling or spatial audio experience for just listening to any kind of music, movies, or even games, and having those things happen and experiencing where the sound is coming from as if you were really fully immersed in that moment of the media. So I think that is going to be just a very nice thing to have experienced, like with the entire headset in its entirety. So very much looking forward to hearing what things sound like with the headset on. But I think they did an amazing job with the presentation, just showing things off. There seems to be a lot of excitement. I mean, it's typical Apple fashion. It's definitely a product that I think is going to get people just really just curious to see how things are going to pan out. But I think that down the line that they're going to absolutely be releasing different models, just like with the iPhones. You have the different tiers, like in the iPhone SE. You have going to the Pro or the Pro Max models. They're probably going to do the exact same thing with the headset with time, over time. So right now it's going to be a very expensive, like unreachable product for the majority of people. But there are people who are going to very, very much happy to get their hands on this very quick. I mean, you see how quickly people line up for all types of stuff. So I don't think this price point is really going to be, obviously it's not going to be a bad thing in their favor. But it is an expensive price tag. So we will see how people adapt to that and how quickly people get on board with grabbing some of these things. But as someone who has been an avid advocate of the virtual reality space and using headsets and all these different things, knowing how well the productivity can be improved, that's another thing they showed off at this presentation. And from the perspective of actually like using that and doing that, like looking through holograms or being able to just see that and interact with the real world around you, honestly is an experience that it really does feel that future forward and making that present, and gives you that immersive and natural response feeling. It's honestly, there's nothing else like it. Being able to browse the web, being able to use certain apps, and from what they showed off, being able to use, I mean, a lot of apps that come on the iPhone or the Mac even, you know, like working with photos, the Photos app, working with Safari, working with all these different kind of things to be able to have those holograms floating in front of you and be able to just use hand gestures to just interact and move things around, search the web, browse things, moving files. I think all of these things with this spatial computing concept that Apple is making sure that is sold as the primary methodology for what they're going for with the product is it's pretty good. So I really do want to see how it's going to work with different kind of apps and just overall like what things will be like with these things. I think the one of the features where you can record video from the headset and essentially relive those moments as if you were reliving the memories. I think that alone is quite a compelling like experience and reason just to even have an option or to have that headset. Is there's a lot of moments you probably do want to capture. I've heard mixed things about people being like, it's probably weird to get the headset on and record something and be in that moment. But I honestly, I don't really think that would be such a thing, especially if once people get used to that, and it won't be like the weirdest thing. I think the eye thing though, that is kind of weird. It is cool though. It is cool, but I do think the eye thing is a little weird. But it's cool to be able to see like someone's eyes and the amount of time they really put into being able to map someone's eyes and represent it on the front of the headset, so that someone can see that you can interact with them and feel a little bit more at ease. I think that will be a very interesting part and aspect of releasing this product is how many people will adopt and how many things will become more of a commonplace or more of an acceptable thing for people to see. I don't know. You don't see people really walking around with headsets right now, but I don't think walking around with headsets is really the main reason or purpose to be having the headset. I mean, I guess all the power to people who actually feel that comfortable who want to, but I think a lot of people still feel very weird or are gonna look weird walking around with those things. And it's also they're not light, you know, they're not lightweight things for you to walk around with. I think if they're once they get to this size, you know, glasses size, then that's a whole different thing. I think that would be normal, but it's a lot to walk around with. So it's definitely more of a at home or maybe an office or certain vicinities kind of computing device. But I think that it definitely has potential for people to walk around and get used to that a little bit. But yeah, I personally want to walk around with such a heavy, expensive thing just on my head, a lot of places. But it's very interesting to think about. There's definitely a lot of stuff to think about, and Apple sure has done a good job of getting people to just start thinking. They definitely got the talk going for VR and augmented reality, mixed reality. And Apple's definitely got the talk going for the headset space, so they definitely got things up again in that direction, and I'm very curious to see how things pan out. But yeah, like going back to the feature of reliving memories, I think that is actually pretty cool. Like you can think of almost any memory that you might want to feel like you're actually there again. Pulling it out, whole different conversation. But if you are ready for it, then why wouldn't you? Like we're on these phones as it is almost all the time, right? So it's really just going to be an extension or just a change of that is the way that I potentially see things going. I see it if you spend time on your phone as much as we do nowadays as it is, then I don't see the difference of pulling out something like that just to record a moment if you have access to it, But yeah, with all the crazy specs and the features, one of my favorite things that they talked about at the presentation was just the fact that the eye tracking is going to be so next level, highly advanced, and so accurate. I really want to get my hands on trying one of these things. A lot of people have reported that it is incredibly accurate. Being able to just look with your eyes to select things in a virtual space, just looking at holograms and just clicking it seems like a very Ready Player One. Well, Ready Player One might be a different direction. But it seems like a very high level experience and natural way of navigating in that. So with that kind of quality, I do really, I'm really excited to see what that looks like. But they touched on other things. They brought in Disney for the presentation, and having all these different types of immersive, interactive media experiences, entertainment experiences, and stuff like they showed a basketball game and ESPN and all these other things, and you can already buy virtual reality tickets to some sporting events. I'm not sure if all of them have that, but I know that NBA and NFL do, and you can actually sit down in a VR headset now if you own one of the Quest devices or any of these other most of these other headsets, and experience what it's like to be courtside, but from the comfort of your home without having to pay the money of being courtside. So I think there's a lot of different selling factors. I see Apple definitely making that really making a slam dunk with that. Especially if there's actual other like augmented things around it, and just with it being such a full focus on being a mixed reality product and not just virtual reality and not just augmented reality, being able to flip between both of them with uh, the way they've designed things is, I think, just as such, it's a very powerful tool. Now, a lot of the stuff with the mixed reality isn't exactly new. You can do all of that with a Meta Quest Pro. I know the Quest 3 was announced recently, and that's going to come out, and that can also do all of the pass through, the seeing the real world, interacting in the augmented space with all those things. But at the level that the Vision Pro is going to be able to do it, is going to be an entirely different level of immersion and experience. I do think that those holograms, like for like the stuff they show with the game, I think would be sick. To have the points, the stats, and all these things, and if you're not even fully immersed, if you can just you can watch a game and still see the outside of your living room and your kitchen and moving around and all that stuff, I think that's an incredible experience. So they've really lined up a lot of the cards and got a lot of things in the right places. The only thing they didn't show anything about gaming, which that's definitely a market. They did show something about gaming. Well, hooking up a controller to the headset and playing things through there, which is perfectly fine. You can do that on a number of things as it is, but like when it comes to playing actual virtual reality games, they didn't actually show that. So that's what I was really getting at. So I'm just really curious to see if and how well they handle those things, and I'm sure they're gonna incorporate games. That's gonna be part of it. But definitely gaming with the controller is definitely going to be a pretty cool thing. You can do that with, obviously a TV, but it's not going to be a better experience than having a hologram that you can choose the size of, that's for sure. So having that kind of viewing experience for plugging in your controller and being on your headset and playing it that way is that's definitely next level. And I do think with the actual games, the actual virtual reality games, I'm curious about how those would go without having the controllers. They seem to definitely be committing to not really having a controller input at all and not having accessories, which I think down the line that might actually change. Apple is pretty much known for being an accessories company as well. Like, name one product from Apple that doesn't have an accessory for it. So I'm sure that Apple will later on introduce controllers of some sort, maybe for the gaming features and then virtual reality, giving that immersed and enhanced level of immersion and things like the haptic feedback and being able to feel the things. Because if you use your hands, you won't be able to feel any of the virtual things within the space. And if you're playing games, that might be a little bit off-putting if for a virtual reality experience. But only time will tell. So we'll definitely have to see what they ended up deciding to do on that. But yeah, that was just me sharing my rough thoughts, and I probably would like to break down a couple more things in some later videos and yeah, I mean, just kind of watch the news and see how things are coming. I can continue giving more things from a developer perspective, breaking down some of the stuff on that as we learn more about them opening that up, because they are gonna be putting this out for developers to get their hands on some things to actually start making, applications and all the other stuff for it. So stay tuned for all of that. But thanks for taking the time to check out the video. And if you found this interesting, useful, please leave a like, subscribe on your way out, and I will catch up with you in another video. But until then, you guys be easy.